Alright guys, and girls. I notice I always say guys, so. Shh. Part 1, let's begin. The first 3 questions are using absolute values, so absolute value just means the distance away from 0, and distance cannot be negative, so basically everything comes out to be positive. So the first couple are pretty easy, so I'll go through those a little bit quicker. Absolute values are also used very similar to parentheses, where we have to do them first. So inside here, we have 34 plus a negative 6.8. And I don't know where I put my calculator. Where's my calculator? Oh my gosh, can you throw me? Thank you, Maddie. Oh my gosh. Okay, you couldn't see that because it wasn't on it, but I got a calculator now, we're chill. Okay. So 34 minus 6.8, we get 27.2, and it's already positive, so we're good to go. Question 3. We have a negative 5 on the outside, so we're going to deal with that last. We're going to first take the inside and take care of that. So we got 14 minus 21 is going to give us a negative 7. But then the absolute value of that is 7, and then we just multiply it to the negative 5, and we get negative 35. Okay? All right, moving on. Number 4. We're given f of x equals a negative x squared plus x minus 1. This is a function, and they want us to go ahead and find out what the function would equal given a certain value. So we get f of 1, which means we're going to plug in 1 for x. 1 squared is 1, but it is a negative on the outside. Plus 1 minus 1, so f of 1 is going to equal negative 1. Again, we're just evaluating these by plugging in part B, so that was part A. Part B, we're going to do f of negative 1. Notice how I use parentheses to help me in setting this up. And we got negative 1 plus a negative 1 minus 1. Negative 1 squared is 1, but there's a negative outside. Plus a negative 1 minus 1. So that's 3 negative 1s, which will make a negative 3. Okay, so that's part B of question number 4. And we're back. Question number 5. We get f of x equals x over x minus 3. Doing the same thing for part A. We're going to do f of negative 3. So we get negative 3 minus 3. A lot of students yesterday thought that we could cancel these out. That is not true. That's only true if everything was multiplying. They're not multiplying. So what we're going to do is we're just going to evaluate negative 3. Negative 3 minus 3 is going to give me negative 6. 2 negatives make it positive, and this would reduce to 1/2. So f of negative 3 is equal to 1/2. Part B, f of 3 is going to be 3 over 3 minus 3. This gives us 3 over 0. You can't have 0 in the denominator. It'd be like having 3 items of toothpaste out of no toothpaste that was ever made. That was a really awkward example. But this is undefined. We can't have 0 in the denominator. So there is no value at x equals 3. We do not have a graph. All right, number 6. Absolute value of 3 plus 4, negative 2, negative 6. Okay, again, we have multiplication happening first. That's going to make a negative 8. And then the absolute value of negative 3 is 3. So we go ahead and evaluate this. 3 minus 8 is negative 5. Minus 6 is negative 11. Number 7. 15 over 18 divided by 10 over 3. You cannot divide by fractions, so we must multiply by the reciprocal. When multiplying, we can actually cross-cancel or reduce. So 18 and 3, 3 goes into both, that becomes 6 and 1. 5 goes into both of these, 3 and 2. That gives us 3 times 1, and 6 times 2, which would reduce to 1/4. Okay. All right. Next page, number 6. Sorry, number 8. We get 6 bracket 4 minus 2, 6 plus 8, and brackets. So we're going to follow PEMDAS. We start in the inside, 6 plus 8. That's going to give us 14. A lot of students will do 4 minus 2 first, but multiplication becomes before addition. So we have to take care of this first. That's negative 28. And then 4 minus 28 is going to give us negative 24. And then we multiply that by 6. And I don't remember the answer to that off the top of my head, but I believe it is 144, and it is negative. Number 9. Negative 4, bracket 16 minus 3, 7 minus 10, brackets. Again, parentheses we go in for first. This becomes negative 3. Again, multiplication's happening first, so we're going to multiply negative 3 times negative 3, which is a positive 9. 16 plus 9, we're going to add those two together, and we're going to get 25. And then negative 4 times 25 is negative 100 as our final answer. Okay. Number 10, so we're moving away from PEMDAS type problems, moving towards exponents. So first deal with exponents is we want to get rid of any negative exponents. So here we have a negative 3, so we want to move that to the bottom. And we have a negative 2, we want to move that up to the top. At the same time, we're going to evaluate. 6 squared is 36. And 12. We move the u, negative 2, up. That becomes a positive, so that's u to the 5th. And then this comes down, that becomes v. This is a 1, so 3 is adding to it, v to the 4th. 36 and 12, that goes in 3 times, so we get 3, u to the 5th. That's a u. And v to the 4th. And that's fully simplified. Number 11. You get 3 negative 4 power, m to the negative 1 power, n to the negative 3rd power, 9 to the negative 2 power, m and n to the negative 3rd power. The negative 3's on the end, they're the exact same, so they can cancel. This m is going to come to the bottom to give me m squared on the bottom. 3 to the negative 4 is going to go to the bottom here. This is going to come on to the top. 9 squared is 81. 3 to the 4th power is also 81, so those will cancel. And I'm left with 1 over m squared. Number 12. So we have x to the negative 3rd power, so that's going to come to the bottom, so this will become x cubed y. And over here, the whole thing is a negative, so the whole thing is going to flip. And that's going to become y over x. The y's will cancel each other out because they're multiplying. X to the 3rd and x to the 1st is going to become x to the 4th. Okay. Number 13. We get the cube root of 216, and then that gets cubed. Well, if you're taking a cube root and then you're cubing it, those are going to cancel each other out. They're inverse operations. So this all just cancels out, and 2/16 is your answer. So that one's kind of convenient. Next. 14. It's so quiet in here. You just talked. Okay. So we cannot combine these because the base numbers are not the same. So what we want to do is break these down. So I believe this is 8 and 4, and then that's 2 and 4, so I can pull a 4 out. But when I take the 4 on the outside, it has a 2 out here, so it's going to become 2 times 4, which is 8, and then we have this left over. 72 is going to be 9 and 8, which breaks down to 2 and 4 and 2 and 2, and this is 3 and 3. So we get to pull out a 3 and a 2, and then there's another 3, so we are left over with that. So this is going to be plus 3 times the 2 times the 3, rad 2. So if you combine all those right there, that's going to give us, what is that, 18. Since we now have the same radical base down here, rad 2 and rad 2, we can combine these two together. And that's going to give us 26 rad 2. We get rad 18 over u times 2u. When we're multiplying, adding we had to have the same base, but multiplying we can just multiply the insides together. So we're going to get 18 times 2, which is 36, and then u squared. And then we can take the square root of 36, which is 6, and the square root of u, which is u squared, which is u. Okay. Coming down to the end here, close to it at least. So 16, we have the cube root of 24 over u to the 4th. So we can break this down into 6 and 4, 3 and 2, and 2 and 2. So we get a 2 to come out. U will break down into 4 u's. So we have 3 right there. So again, we're doing cube roots. So we get to pull 1 u out, but we're left with a 3 and a u. And on the bottom we have a cube root of 3u. So they're the same. We can cancel those two out. And we're left with 2u. Okay. Okay. Number 17. So the square root of 8, we can simplify this to 4 and 2 and 2 and 2, so we get to pull the 2 out. And this is x, x, and x. We get to pull that out, so we get to pull x out. We're left with 2x plus 2x square root. They have the same base, so we can combine them, but I can't add 1 to this, so we actually end up with this kind of funky version, where we get 2x plus 1 square root of 2x as our answer. Okay. 18. We get 8y minus 2y to the second power minus 3y minus 8. That's in parentheses and brackets. So we first take a look at the parentheses. We got 3y minus 8. Can't do anything in there, so we move out to the brackets, and the negative is going to distribute all the way through, so we get negative 3y plus 8. Nothing I can do here, but we do have a negative on the outside, so we can distribute that through, so we get negative 2y squared plus 3y minus 8. and then we can combine like terms. And it asks us to put this in standard form, so we want to put the negative 2y squared in the front, plus, that becomes 11y minus 8. So again, standard form, we go from the highest degree, which here is a squared term, down to y, and then down to no term. Okay? (19), we get x minus 4 cubed. The better way to write that would be x minus 4 times x minus 4. Okay, which seems kind of crazy. But what we can do is we can just go ahead and factor one piece by one piece. So we're going to get x times x, which is x squared, x times a negative 4 times x, and negative 4 times negative 4. This becomes x squared minus 8x plus 16. And then we still have to multiply it again by x minus 4. So it might seem kind of like a lot. So some students like to do what's called a bigger box method. And so I'll show you that, where we get x squared here, negative 8x, and 16. This is just to help you visually understand, to make sure you multiply all the pieces correctly, because you're doing a trinomial times a binomial. X times x squared is x cubed, negative x squared, and 16x. Down here we're going to get negative 4x squared. This becomes a positive 32x, and this is going to become 4 times 16. What is that? 64. Negative 64 right there. Okay, we want to combine like terms, put it in the order. So x cubed is the highest degree. Then you'll see right here on the diagonal, we got negative 8, negative 4. That's going to be a negative 12x squared. 32 and 16 is going to give us 48x, and then negative 64. Number 20, we got 3x minus 6 and 5x plus 1. Again, we're going to just go ahead and multiply 3x to the first two. That's going to give me 15x squared plus 3x. Then multiply those two. Negative 30x minus 6. Combine like terms in the middle. And we're done. 21. It's 2x minus 3 squared, so we can actually just write it out twice and do the same thing we just did. That's 4x squared minus 6x minus 6x plus 9. So we get 4x squared plus 12x plus 9. Sorry, that's not plus, that's a negative 12x. And last but not least, 22. There's a shortcut on this one. This one's a difference of perfect squares. So you can actually cancel the middle term out. So it's just going to be 6x and 6x, which is 36x squared minus 25. And that's the video.